In this video I'm going to show you how you can set up your squeeze page for this marketing funnel. Now, in order to set up the squeeze page, what we'll need is the HTML editor. It's what's known as a WYSIWYG HTML editor. The WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. There's several available, and you may already have one that you use. However, if you don't, then a free one that you can get is called Composer. If you go online and put a search in for Composer with a K, you'll come to this website, which is composer.net. All you need to do then is download the program and install it in the normal way. Now, before you actually set up your squeeze page, what I suggest you do is somewhere on your computer is create a folder for your squeeze page, and within that folder then create a second folder and name it images, because this is where the images that are going to appear on your website are going to be located, so that when you upload it to your server, you'll also be uploading the image folder as well, and the web page will know where to get the images from to display properly on your web page. Okay, so once you've downloaded and installed Composer, simply open it up and we can begin setting up our squeeze page. Now, if we quickly look at the example we've got here, this is obviously similar to the that we would be setting up. So it's got the collection of ebooks, and we've got our headline here and our subheader. Now, when it comes to a squeeze page, there are some elements that you absolutely must have. The first is a headline that will grab your visitor's attention, and also you want your subheadline here. Below that, you want an image of your product or your offer, and then following that you want your call to action and your opt-in form. Those are the basics that you need for a squeeze page. Let's say a compelling headline, the subheader, the image, the call to action, and the actual opt-in form itself. Beyond that, you can also add more information if you wish. So for example, here you see that each individual ebook is covered a bit more in depth, and then at the very bottom there is another call to action with another opt-in form, and by all means you can certainly do that. However, the basics, as I say, that you require is your headline, a sub-headline, graphics, a call to action, and your opt-in form. Now, when it comes to the headline and the sales copy for your one-time offers, those are areas that need particular attention. Now, in terms of how to actually write compelling headlines and how to write sales copy, that's beyond the scope of this particular series of videos. However, if this is something that you're setting up yourself, then what I suggest you do is create a swipe file and look at other squeeze pages and other sales pages in similar niches that are converting and that are getting sales, and then build up a collection of the headlines and the sales copy that you see within these sales pages, so that you can then use them as inspiration for your own squeeze pages on your own websites. Unfortunately, writing sales copy and writing compelling headlines and call to actions is an art form in itself, and if you're starting out, then there will be a degree of trial and error, and there will be a degree of testing and split testing. Now, as you continue down the path in internet marketing, continue to build your lists and build your squeeze pages, you will always be constantly testing and split testing your different products, your different sales pages, to see what converts. But when you're first starting out, as I say, build yourself a swipe file and try out different headlines and different types of sales copy and see what works for you and see what converts. And just understand that there will be a period where you try different things and you tweak the copy accordingly depending on your results. So that being said, there are some basics that you should try and cover when you're creating a compelling headline. First of all, it should grab the visitor's attention. Ideally, it should highlight a particular pain that you know the visitor will be feeling and offer a solution. So for example, here we've got finally no more paying for products that don't deliver results. Now that's a common complaint in the internet marketing niche, that people spend good money on internet marketing products only to try them out and find out that they don't work. It's something that you hear about all the time on the forums. It's something that people complain about constantly. So there, in this example, you can see that the pain has been highlighted, and then there's a solution. Get everything you need to know to start a wildly successful home-based internet business. So it's saying, I understand that this is a problem, and here's the result, with a bit more in depth with regards to what you actually get in the offer. So from search engine optimization, affiliate marketing, viral marketing, joint ventures, blogging, social networking, and more. Okay, and then there's the call to action: secure your copy, reserve my complimentary free gifts, with the opt-in form. So you can see that it's a very punchy, very attention grabbing headline and call to action, and that's the type of thing that you'll need in your squeeze pages and then also in your sales pages as well. Okay, so how do we actually create a squeeze page? Well, as I say, once you've downloaded Composer, all we do is open up our copy, and then what we do is we create a table. So go table, insert table, and you want precisely one row by one column, and we'll give it a width of 800 pixels, and we want this to have a border, and we'll take away the cell spacing, and we'll take away the cell padding as well, and click OK. Then we want to center that, and that is essentially where our content's going to go. So the next thing we're going to do, for the purposes of this video and purely for the purposes of speed, what we'll do is we'll just take this particular headline. Now obviously what you would do is you would create your own and type out either Notepad or a text file or directly into Composer itself. But for the purposes of this, the purposes of speed, we'll just paste this in, and then all you do is just simply format that. So we'll center this, we'll change the font I think, and we'll make it impact, and then you can change the colour as well, so you can highlight certain words. So we'll make that red. So finally, no more paying for products that don't deliver results. Get everything. Again, we'll change the colour of that. Okay, you need to know to start a wildly successful. Go with that one. Home-based internet business. And then we'll take this sub-headline here, and we'll center that. I think what we'll do is we'll make that blue. Okay, so now we've got our headline, which will attract attention, and our sub-headline here. And the next thing we want to do is add our product image. So all you do is click on image, click on this folder icon, and if you remember, we set up our folder and our images folder. Just simply go into the images folder and select your box graphics there. And we don't want to use alternate text. You can add alt text if you wish, for the purposes of SEO, but for this we'll just select don't use alt text, click OK, and then we'll just center that as well. Okay, so we've got our headline, we've got our product image, and then we'll just insert our arrow. Okay, and click open. Okay, and then we'll get our call to action. Paste it in. And we'll just change the font of that to impact. Okay. And then the next thing we need is our opt-in form. Now what we'll do is we'll just create the table for it. When you create an opt-in form in your autoresponder, in order to embed it in your web page, you'll get a series of a section of HTML code. Now if you were just to place that in here directly, what would actually happen is your opt-in form would automatically default to the left hand side. So what we need to do is we want that to be centered on the page here. So what we'll do is we'll insert a table. Cancel that. Go table, insert table, and again this time we'll make it 400 pixels. And cell spacing, cell padding. Actually what we'll do is we'll give it a border, click OK, and then we can center that. I think what we'll do is actually make that a little bit wider, so if you right click, go to table cell properties, table, and we'll up that to 600 pixels. Okay. What we can also do is we can add the dashed border around this box. Now this is also true if you want to create the dash boxes that you see, for example down here, for adding more content about each individual product. And the way you do that in Composer is we'll use the cascading style sheets. Before we do that, we need to actually save this. So we click save, give it the name of index, and because this is our landing page, it has to be the index file. Click OK, make sure it's saved in the right folder, click save. Then what we do is click the cascading style sheet box, and we're going to create a new style here, and we will call it border. Click create style rule, make sure you've got that selected, and then we'll select border, and we'll get it dashed, and then we can select the width, so we get thin, medium, or thick. So we'll go with medium, and then you can select the colour as well. Click OK, click OK, and then we just double click into the box to make sure it's highlighted and selected, and then we just select the class here, and you can see we now have this dashed border going around our box. So now we can add the opt-in form into this section here, and if we want to add any more text, so for example if we want to say, you know, yes, reserve my complimentary free gifts, copy that. So again, what you're doing here is you're highlighting the value of the product, showing the person that they're actually getting a great deal. And again, you can change the font of that to whatever you want. We'll go with Veranda here, and we can change the colour. Okay, and then lastly what we want to do is we want to center the opt-in form here. So again, if we just go table, insert table, and again 1 by 1. This time we'll make it smaller, so we'll make it about 400 pixels. No cell space, no cell padding, and no border. And again, if we center that, and that's where we're going to be putting our opt-in form as well. Okay, so that's our squeeze page prepared. So we've got our headline that will attract attention and get people to look further down. We've got a subheader, we've got our box images, and then we've got our call to action as well. And I say if you wanted to, you can also add in further details about the products by doing the same thing, creating these dashed boxes and then adding the product images and some bullet points about the products. And then at the bottom, all you do is create another one of these call to actions and another one of these boxes, and then put in your code there as well. Okay, so that's the squeeze page prepared. What we then need to do is go and set up our autoresponder and add in our opt-in form at the bottom here, and I'll show you how to do that in one of the following videos. But that's it for setting up our basic squeeze page. So say if we save that, and then if we go here, if I double click on the index file, and there you can see the squeeze page set up. It's nice and simple. It'll attract attention, and let's say you'll get people signing up to your list. So nice and straightforward. But I'd say the most important thing about the squeeze page and about the sales pages is actually the content. Setting up the actual squeeze page, the mechanics of that, can be relatively straightforward, done in a simple way such as this. But it's actually the content, the headlines and the sales copy that will actually convert your visitors into people who will sign up to your list and into buyers as well further along the funnel. And if you're doing this yourself, then you either create these sales copy yourself and continue to test and tweak and adjust it and build up a swipe file, or alternatively you hire somebody to write copy for you, which can be very expensive. The other option is there are services available whereby they will set everything up for you and have products in place that are proven to be essentially winners, that you know they'll sell well, and that they'll, for a fee, will set everything up for you. So it's just another thing to bear in mind. But that's it for this video in terms of setting up our squeeze page. We'll go on and look at setting up our other pages in following videos, and then setting up our autoresponder account as well. Okay, I will see you in the next video.